Hello Intune friends, in this video we're going to go through 8 ways to sync a Windows Intune device. And by default, a Windows Intune device check for updates and sync every 8 hours. So that's only 3 times during 24 hours, so not that much. And if it's a newly enrolled device, it's check in every 3 minutes for 15 minutes, and then the other 2 hours it's check in every 15 minutes. But this video will look at devices who have been enrolled for a while. For example, maybe you package the software and you send it, and you want it to come faster than maybe maximum 8 hours while the clients wait. So we're going to look through that. First, I would like to thank everyone who have subscribed to my channel. I have now bypassed 500 subscribers. Thank you very much, and thanks everyone who likes the video. That helps a lot. Okay, so let's get started now with the first way. So the 2 first ways, they're gonna be how we can do it remotely. The other 6 ways, you have to have access to the device, or at least tell the user what to do in order to sync. So the first way, it's gonna be a very easy one. You can sync from the console. So if we click here on devices and then click all devices, let's say I want to sync this one here. So I click on this one, and then we just click here on sync. Before we do that, I'm going to prepare for the second way how to sync. And by that, a pretty cool tool that we're probably going to do a video only about. If you press F12, it's going to ask if you want to open DevTools. I'm going to say remember this one, and we open. Then we get a little panel here on the side. We want to move to a panel called Network. And the reason why is because we want to record the network activity for the second way how to sync. So the first way, it's just to press sync here. I'm going to remove everything that it's here, which is nearly nothing. I'm going to record, then I'm going to click on sync, which is the first way how to sync a machine. And then we're going to take the output of this one and show a second way how to sync, a much more advanced way. Okay, let's click re-record. So now we click sync. This is the first way. So now we ask this client to do a sync before the 8 hours have passed. And it's actually not exactly 8 hours, it's about 8 hours. It's written in documentation. So now we have sent the synced device here. See if I can zoom in a bit. Oh, it will only sync on the left side, so zoom on the left side. So I stopped the recording. So number 1 is done. To sync a device, just go in under devices, find the device, and then click on the sync, and you're done. The second way, we're gonna use MS Graph. And the reason why I recorded this is because all this button, all you see here in the console, behind it's actually sending a Graph API call. And I captured the one, and that's gonna be our second one. So if we look here, we have the URL for MS Graph. I'm going to copy this one. Let's do a right click. Well, let's copy this one. And we're going to speak a bit about this URL. We can see 200, that means success. 400 means fail on client. 500 means fail on server. We'll see a bit more here. Request method is option. I'll just see if it's maybe this one I wanted more. Yep, it's actually this sync device. I had 2 here. I think the URL is exactly the same. I'll still take this one to be sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same. So copy this one. Then we see the request method is a post. And let's see if that's the header. Normally it should come with the body, but we can send the body is... we can send an empty body just to do sync. Okay, so we have the URL. This is going to be pretty advanced. If you've never seen it before, if not, you're going to find this very simple. So let's go to graphmicrosoft.com. I'm going to put the link in the description. So we want to go to GraphExplorer here, and that's the link I'm going to give. Here it's starting the GraphExplorer. We will have to log in order to get data for our tenant. So we have to be logged in. So sign in. That's me. Okay, now I'm logged in here. And if you remember from when we captured, request method is post. So let's change that to post. Funny enough, Microsoft is always running on beta. It's a bit funny. If you see here the URL, graph beta. And then let's paste what we had there. So this should be enough. And you see the device. Here's the device ID of my device. It starts with BE2. If we go here and see in the URL, it's indeed BE2 and the rest. You'll have to trust me on it. So we tell to the graph, hey, under device management, manage device, this ID, run a sync device. So you need some permission. I might have run this before, so I already accepted it. We'll see if it shows up or not. So I have already ran this before, but normally it should prompt for more permission. Just say yes, go in under here, modify permission and accept. So let's try this to run this one now. So we are running a post under beta and here is our URL. So I'll hit run query now. And we got status 204, which is a success, and no content, and it took 325 milliseconds. So now we have synced this device. And if you remember 204, it was the same we had when we captured here. Exactly the same, 204, no content. So that was the second way to sync, and both this way through Microsoft Graph and through the console, which is basically the same thing. This is the GUI way. This is more if you wanted to put it in a script or like, then you can use Graph. Both these were remote. So we have done 1, 2. The third one, it's going to be on the client itself and all the other way to sync. So let's go to one of my clients. I'm on them. Let's take this one. So let's say we want to sync. We are on this one and we want to ask a user. We can first go to settings. Then we go to accounts. Then we go to access work or school. Then we click on this one here. And then you have here info. So let's click on info. And here you get pretty good information what policies have applied. Also application. Well, you get them in GUID. And down here you can also sync. So it looks like it couldn't sync here 4 minutes ago. Let's run it again and see if it go better. It wants authentication. Let's give it that again. That's me. Normally you don't see this. Well, maybe you do, but normally you shouldn't. You want my MFA. Do that on my phone. I approve. And we should be good. So now it's syncing. Perfect. So the sync was successful. So this one have synced. Another way to sync, well, since this machine just synced, let me go to the other one, is through Company Portal. And Company Portal, you must have pushed. It's a Microsoft Store app for now. It will change in 2023, depending on when you see this, but during year 2022, it's a Store app. Let's go to Company Portal. If you're already logged in, you see sync this device, so you can click here directly. If you were not logged in, you might have to go here to settings and sync, but now it's signing me in. So now we are syncing in the sync way number 4 through Company Portal here. So this is under settings and you click sync, or you do it directly. That's probably the fastest way you can do. You just say sync this device. So you just type Company Portal sync and you are there. This is good for end users, of course. And now this one have synced. That was the fourth way to sync. Okay, so fifth way to sync, it's through Task Scheduler. So let's open Task Scheduler. And here, let's go, and it's good you open that as admin. Task Scheduler, Microsoft, Windows, then I think it's Enterprise. Enterprise something. Let's see which option we have here. Enterprise Management. And here you see this is an enrollment ID. This one is unique for each machine. So in order to find out which name this one have, you can open an Explorer and go to see program data. And remember, program data is hidden by default. Program data, Microsoft, then DM client, and here you see it's enrollment ID. If I go to my other machine and look, or if you look on your machine, this one is unique. So it's unique per machine. So you see it started with DD79. Yes, here DD79. And I'm going to make this one a bit bigger. So here it's a lot of scheduled tasks. The one we want to look at is PushLaunch. So this one run on a custom trigger. That's probably related to the 8 hours. This is the one who run. So if we run this one manually here, if we just hit the run, we're actually gonna do a sync. So I'll run this one. So now this one is running. Do a little refresh. It's done the sync. If we go and look a bit what this is, as I mentioned, the trigger is custom. You can't change this one. Edit. Can't be edited by this tool. The action is that it's running device enroller, and here you see again this enrollment ID, it's access. So this is actually one of the ways we're gonna run another sync way to run this manually, and no condition or anything special there. So this task run probably around every 8 hours, but you can run it manually. So that's the sync way number 5. You can also, instead of starting this, if you don't know this name or you want to do it scripted, we can run this from PowerShell. Just to show that it's another enrollment ID, we can go to our other machine. So if we go to this machine and we just look at the task scheduler there as well, and then we will start it the same one. So we're still on the sync item number 5. So if we go Windows, we said, then it was Enterprise, Management, and you see here it's another GUID, but it's also have the PushLaunch. So let's open PowerShell ISE, and I would like to open this as administrator. Yes. Let's maximize this one. Let's put down the script. I'm going to zoom in twice. So what do we know? First we got to get the scheduled task, and then we're just going to run it. So if we run get-scheduled task, perfect. Then we can actually ask it to get all scheduled tasks and then filter it. And we can filter it with a question mark, a curly bracket, an end curly bracket, and then we put the criteria between here. And at the end, we just say whatever match the criteria, start the scheduled task. So now we just need to have the criteria. So it should be a variable score underscore dot called the task name. It even give it here. I love that in PowerShell IC. And we want it to be equal, and what was the name? Let's open, we have task scheduler here somewhere. Yep, let's just steal the name, PushLaunch. I mean, I could type that, but to prevent any typos, right click, copy, go back to our PowerShell. Here, PushLaunch. So I'll cut out the last part just so we see the script run it. If not, it's going to be a bit silent. Let's see if this works. So it's actually found it exactly where it was, and it's ready. Let's add the last part. So I paste it back, start schedule task. Now it's actually going to run and do a sync. So now it is syncing. It's difficult to see here. So that was sync way number 5 using Task Scheduler. Number 6 to schedule, we can do an easy one, which is just restart the Intune management service. So we can do that in 3 different ways. We can do it through PowerShell, the MMC console, or we can do it also from just the CMD prompt. So let's do that in all 3. Let's start with the easiest way. We start an MMC, or we could start directly services, which is an MMC. Let's run as administrator because we need to be that. Then if we search on Microsoft and then something Intune, yep, here we got Microsoft Intune Management Extension. By restarting this service, it will sync. So when you start up a machine, it will sync. So this every 8 hours, it will be sooner if people restart machine and other stuff. So I'll just restart this service. Let's stop it first and then start it. So now it's doing a sync. And we can do this from PowerShell also. Well, we have this one already open. I'll just comment this one away. And all these commands going to be in the description of the video. So if we do stop service, probably yes. And it probably want a name. And the name it prefer, it's not the friendly name. It prefer usually another name. So if we go in here, it's prefer the service name, not the display name. So I'm going to copy this one, IntuneManagementExtension, copy. So we can see this one is running now. We can verify that it's actually stop. So if we run this, see if that works. We can't tell there if it actually worked, but if we go in here, and this one will not know what's happened, but if we do a refresh, now it's not running. So now we have stopped it. Guess what the other command's going to be? Well, it's going to be start. So we just take the same, but we do start. So if we run this command here now, it looks like it accepted it. We go back to the MMC. And if I do a refresh here now, it's running. So do you have to do stop and start? Can you do restart? Let's see. You can do restart services. So we could have done it a one-liner. For some reason, I prefer to have it two. Anyway, this one is doing stop and start, but if you just run it, you can definitely run restart service, only one line and not both. So I said we can also do that in CMD for you who don't like PowerShell. I'm a big fan of PowerShell myself, but CMD works very good as well. CMD, we have something called SC. Let's see if I can make this one a bit bigger. Properties. Let's do the font. Let's bump it up to 28 at least. So SC, if we do SC / question mark, seems to have something to do with the services. So we can SC stop and start. So let's do that then. I clear the screen. So let's do SC and then stop and see if I have my Windows V. I have. Perfect. So Windows V is my favorite. It has a clipboard. So you remember we already had the name here. Oh, not twice. Intune Management Extension. So if we run this, it should stop it again. And here we get some more feedback than PowerShell. We could probably get that from PowerShell as well. We could query. But here we say it says stop pending. So we don't know if it's actually have stopped. So we could do query here and verify that it have stopped. It is stopped. So if it's stopped, we want to start it. So we just run the same command as we did the first time, but instead of stop, we put start. And same, I do 2 arrow up to verify we query this one, and now it says it's running. And when you restart the Intune Management Extension, it do another sync. So that concludes the 6th way of syncing. So the 7th way of syncing is a pretty stupid one, but it could be good. Imagine you are with a remote user on the phone and nothing works. The company portal is not installed. The user can't find in settings how to sync. Nothing works. You can restart the device. So just ask the user to go and restart. Oh, it looks like I have some updates. So update and restart. So when it restart and come back, that's the same as or sixth way to restart the service, because if you restart the device, of course, the service have to stop and then start again. So it's very similar to our sixth way of syncing, but I wanted to separate this one because this is good for remote user, which is often the case for Intune. If nothing helps, they can't get your instructions, or for some reason, just ask them to restart. That's gonna, when it come back, it's gonna ask for, it's gonna do a sync. So this one is restarting. We don't have to wait for that. We can go directly to the last way of syncing. So now I have only one machine left. The other one is shutting down. And the last way of syncing, which I actually never tried, but I assume it would work, it is to take the action what the scheduled task does and run it manually. So you see here it's the device roller. So we can run that in the PowerShell script or anything in a bash file, but let's run it manually only. This is not one I recommend, but it should work. Should probably start it as an administrator, just to be sure. Run command prompt as admin. That gives another good way running it as admin. You come directly to C Windows system. That's what %windir%, that gets translated to C Windows and System32. So there it should exist a file, device enroller, and that one is actually mostly used for enrollment. And I thought I could be smart here to tab, but it's too many there, device enroller. And I'll just copy this argument. And you remember this GUID enrollment ID, it's unique per device. So we do /o, the enrollment ID /c and z. This should also sync. Again, I haven't really tested this, but it should work. So that's the 8th way. So this concludes the 8 ways of syncing. And which one do I recommend? Well, if you are the admin, I wouldn't go to Power Graph if you just want to sync. You just go to the console and you click sync. If you need help from the user, I would definitely recommend Company Portal. That one is the easiest for them to sync. If nothing works, yes, you can ask them to restart. I think the task scheduler, that works fine, but it's a bit overkill to do that. But it's interesting to understand how it syncs in different ways. I think you as an admin, I like the settings page. Let me go there again, because it gives so much extra information. So if we go settings, we went to accounts, we went to access work and school, and we click here on our domain and we get info. So here we can sync. If we scroll down, sync down here. You also have great to create a report that creates a lot of data, even the hardware hash if you do import for autopilot, but you also get all this information, which policy have applied an application. Again, these are a bit hard, you have to match them. So that wraps up this video about 8 different ways of syncing Windows device in Intune. Thank you very much, have a great day.